Who do I call if it ain't you? Tell me who to call if it ain't you. I've been pacing circles in my bedroom.
I like to review things here on the internet, including books. I'm gonna go over the books that I read in the month of April, May, and June. During the pandemic, I started picking books up again. I read 12 books, I think, in 2021, which was the most books I had read in a very long time. And now in 2022, I gave myself the challenge of reading 50 books. And, you know, I didn't think I was gonna get even mildly close, because like 12 last year, right? I'm at 35, and it is July. So we're close. I told you guys in my March reading wrap up that I read The Cruel Prince. I completed the Folk of the Air trilogy. If you haven't heard about The Cruel Prince by Holly Black, it is a YA fantasy following Jude Duarte, who is a twin, and they both get taken to the fairy world to live there as humans with some high stakes because fairies are terrible and they treat them really bad. So Jude, our main character, is kind of power hungry, and she just wants to prove her place in this world. Wicked King, 5 out of 5 stars. Cardin, who is the love interest, if you can even call it that at this point, love him. Then he gets even better. The Queen of Nothing is the final book in the Folk of the Air trilogy, but then she made a spin-off like novella in Cardin's perspective. It's called How the King of Elfheim Learned to Hate Stories. So yeah, this one is 5 out of 5 stars. I will be purchasing that extra book. I cannot say enough good things about Holly Black. The Folk of the Air trilogy just like stole my heart. I want a Cruel Prince tattoo so bad. I'm obsessed, like completely obsessed. I decided to go into a little bit more adult territory, so this is 18 plus, but I read Neon Gods. This is a Hades and Persephone retelling by Katie Roberts. Not even retelling, reimagining. It's dual POV, but it starts off with Persephone, and I like that this book is like, instead of being like gods per se, they're just 13 really powerful humans who run the city of Olympus. I don't know, I thought that was such a cool take, and I was invested, enthralled, obsessed, in love. Hades, 10 out of 10. 18 plus, check content warnings. I just wanted to show you that I got the second one because aren't these books gorgeous? I'm obsessed with them. The next 3 things I read on my trusty Kindle. This is my Kindle. Yes, my pop socket says spicy. I read Zodiac Academy, The Reckoning, which is the 3rd book. I know in my previous review, I destroyed the first book, gave it a bad rating, but the ending got me hooked. So I read the 2nd one, and then I read the 3rd one, and I'm invested. I'm currently on the 4th one, and I am obsessed with Zodiac Academy. I can't stop thinking about it. It's basically about 2 twins that find out that they're long lost heiresses to a throne in a fae world, but in order to get their inheritance and their throne, they have to graduate from Zodiac Academy. Wow, I said that too fast. Since they were missing for so long, for 18 years, there's 4 heirs to the throne currently who have been told their whole life that they are going to take the throne. They are not having it, and they don't want these girls to take the throne because these girls haven't even grown up in Solaria. So like, who are they to run a kingdom? So it's just like, it's a bully romance. It gets into the story. There's mystery, there's drama, there's hookups. 18 plus, check your content warnings. Then the last 2 books that I read were very short, less than 200 pages. I read The Neverking and The Dark One, which is a Peter Pan fractured fairy tale. Definitely 18 plus, super spicy adult content. I thought it was great. It's about this girl, Winnie Darling. Guess who her great-great-grandmother is? Wendy, duh. And her mom has told her whole life that every Darling woman gets taken on their 18th birthday and they're missing for whether a day or a year or a month, but they always come back and they're a little cuckoo, like their brain is scrambled. So that's why she thinks her mom is just crazy, and her 18th birthday comes around and lo and behold, Peter Pan comes to collect. So she ends up going to Neverland and living with Peter and the Lost Boys while they search for Peter's missing shadow. The storyline is so good. I'm invested in like the whole thing with the shadow and trying to get the shadow back so that the island doesn't die because Neverland's dying because he's running out of power. The spice, a little unnecessary sometimes. Do I enjoy it? Of course. For the month of May, I participated in the Read Your Own Adventure readathon on TikTok. It's kind of like a D&D style readathon where you choose a group that you want to pledge to. I chose the fantasy readers, which was the mages, and you follow prompts, and depending on those prompts, it's the kind of book you have to read. So you're going on a journey, a quest. It's super fun. I posted more about it on my TikTok. Most of these books are fantasy. I started off the month, I guess, tandem reading, hand in hand reading at the same time, listening to Layla by Colleen Hoover. This one was not part of the fantasy readathon. I just like to read a Colleen Hoover book every month. It's light, it's fun. This one was very weird. I gave it 4 stars. I hated it at first. Little synopsis, it's about a rock star who his girlfriend ends up getting into an accident and she starts acting very weird. So they go to the house where they first met, like an Airbnb, and they stay there for a little bit. He starts communications with a ghost that is haunting that house, and it's a Colleen Hoover book, so there's obviously plot twists and stuff. It's not her most liked book. A lot of people don't like this book. Towards the end, the ending is what sold it for me. So then after that, I actually started my quest by a self-published author for my first quest, and I chose Legends and Lattes. It's a cozy slice of life fantasy about an orc, a vicious orc, who decides to quit her life as an assassin and open a coffee shop in the middle of a town that she visited once in one of her missions. It's also sapphic. Love it. The next book I read was These Violent Delights by Gong. This is really popular on TikTok. The author's all over TikTok. I got it in my Book of the Month subscription. It's a Romeo and Juliet retelling based in 1920s Shanghai. The premise is great. The story is great. The writing, however, wasn't for me. I felt like this book dragged on when it didn't have to. I'm not saying it was bad. It just kept dragging on. Too many pages for what was told in this book. Like way too many pages. And I kind of saw some of the plot twists coming. I don't know if I will read the second book. I did kind of enjoy it, so I gave it 3 stars. Oh, but for this book, the quest was to read a book with a weapon on the cover. After that, I kind of jumped into a dark romance because I felt like that one dragged on so long that I needed something smutty and crazy and fun to read. I ended up choosing a thick one, but I read it on my Kindle and I ended up buying it because I loved it. This is a dark romance, 18 plus. Again, check your trigger warnings. Haunting Adeline, very dark romance. This is one of those that you're like, what am I reading? But at the end, I absolutely love the characters. I gave it 4.5 stars. I absolutely love the characters, the storyline. It was crazy the entire time. There was something that I was like, okay, was that really necessary? But now I know that there's a spin-off series, so I get why she introduced that in this. Give the spin-off or whatever. Or if the spin-off came first, it like all happened together. I don't know. After that, I continued on my quest. Task was to read a book that was set in a non-Western world, and I chose to read Shadow and Bone by Leigh Bardugo. This is a show on Netflix. I really liked the show, so I wanted to read the book and compare in my brain for no other reason. I just wanted to compare. The show is better. I gave this a 3. I really enjoyed it though. It gave me a little bit more about each character. I feel like in the show I wasn't able to understand the characters the way that I did in this book. And I will be reading the second one, even though it dragged a little bit. It dragged. I felt myself skimming, but with YA it's really easy to read. I just like kind of skimmed and read dialogue at some point in this book, and I still enjoyed it thoroughly. It was like hanging out with my favorite characters again. I don't know how to explain it. So that's how people feel when they read Bridgerton or something. Yeah, those are the 5 books that I read in my June reading wrap up. So in June, I read only 3 books. It's my slowest reading month of the entire year so far. I'm not sad about it. I just had to chill. I read a novella called The Dragon's Bride by Katie Robert. This is 18 plus spicy. It's a monster romance. It's romantic, it's sweet, it's chaotic, honestly. He's a lizard man, a giant dragon man. But it was so romantic. It made me believe in love again. Also read another book by Katie Robert, Electric Idol. This is the 2nd book in the Dark Olympus series. Electric Idol was so much better than Neon Gods. If you did not want to continue that series, please read Electric Idol. Again, 18 plus, it's a dark romance. The main character, we have a plus size female main character who's an influencer, technically, because it's reimagined Greek mythology, but in modern times. And she's an influencer, and it's marriage of convenience with a not so friendly assassin man. They have to get married in order for her not to be harmed, and they don't like each other, but it's a he falls first. Okay, it has everything that I could ask for. Honestly, I had all the feels. It even has action, like an action movie. Romance, action packed, relatable, quotable, wholesome, love. What I love about Katie Robert is that all her books end in like love. So loving. If you're someone who loves love, those are for you. Katie Robert. And then the next book I read is the first book in the Ravenhood trilogy, Flock by Kate Stewart. This is a very raved series on Booktok. Sorry, I rolled my eyes. So the first book I really enjoyed. Half the book you're not sure what's going on. honestly. You just have to keep going in order to understand. This is not one of those series that you can start and stop. Like, you literally have to keep going in order to understand. You have to read it all through. Also, 18 plus, reverse harem. I don't know. The way that the second book is going, I don't think it's actually a reverse harem. Maybe I've said too much, maybe I've said too little. But Block, number 1, pretty good. But I'm only halfway through the second book and I heard that it's the most heartbreaking one and that's like the best one in the series. And the fact that I feel like it sucks right now is really upsetting because everyone says it's amazing and I don't think so at the moment. But I am speaking before I even finish the book, so we'll see how I feel. If you watched this video in its entirety, thank you for watching this video. Don't forget to subscribe and stay beautiful. I love you. Peace.
She's a Mona Lisa. Everyone's lining up to see her.